Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Unscripted Coding. For those of you new to the channel, Unscripted Coding is where I just go on screen and start creating something from scratch. There's not a whole lot of planning. There usually is a topic, but you get to see all of the twists and turns, all of the mistakes, all of the decisions made along the way. And for today, we are not looking at my computer screen as we usually do. Instead, you are looking at a project we did together a couple episodes back. In true unscripted coding fashion, you can see that this is hardly a polished product. We have little flaps of paper here. But what we did manage to do was take this little guy here. This is an Arduino Pro Micro. This is a microcontroller that lets you run like really short scripts and connect it to various hardware through these headers over here. So what we did was we took this microcontroller, connected it to the computer, and made it do some commands. Control Alt, move the mouse, click a button, and they're all controlled by these three buttons here. And what we really did, and what the goal was to build a really simple, very cost-effective stream deck. You've seen that a lot on Twitch, on game streams where people want to have buttons where they can do macros, and this is a $5 equivalent of that. Of course, without all the polish, and you can certainly do a better job and take this one step further. What we're going to do today is actually just pull out all the wires because this is not a particularly well done device. I'm just going to unplug these. I'm glad I have it on video just in case I want to replug this later. But we're going to reuse this microcontroller right here. And what we're going to pair it off with is one of these. And so let me just tear this off and grab this out. What is this? This is, well, the part number is GW040, and I think it's more commonly known as the HC05. Take a look at the other side. And what this is it gives Bluetooth capabilities to microcontrollers like this one right here. So for those of you who've stuck around with the channel, we've done a couple of videos here, and I think this is a good kind of segue to talk about programming a little bit. Ultimately, you want to build something really cool with your skills, whether you're programming a website, whether you're playing with one of these. You want to create something really cool and share it with everyone in the world. And those take steps. So we first did a really simple demonstration with just this chip alone. Then we expanded it to a Stream Deck, and then we expanded it over here. And you want to keep building it. And if you're sick and tired of these videos, feel free to skip it, move on to the next one. But part of it is you take your first idea, you run with it. I was surprised at how well just this was able to function. And then you start building and snowballing on these ideas. Now, that's a whole lot of words to say, well, to segue into what I want to do with this. What I want to do with this is connect this to give it Bluetooth capabilities, so something like this, connect it to the computer, and basically do the same thing we were doing before. We were able to issue commands to a computer, but what I was hoping to do is to have a Bluetooth receiver receive commands instead of through buttons, get them from another computer or another device like your phone. And so you would send those commands, you would have, say, an app with a variety of buttons instead of three hardware-based buttons, we can have an app send out all sorts of commands to this guy right here. And so I'm hoping this will work really well, but I'm not quite sure how we're going to approach this. The other thing I should mention is this is actually a really, really old part. The HC06 is a really old piece of hardware. I just ordered something called the AT09. So this one runs on Bluetooth 2.0. I'm recording in 2021. Bluetooth 2.0 is ancient, absolutely ancient, but I'm pretty sure both my phone and computer support it. But what's really nice is it seems like I can just pop this off and replace it with the AT09 with very minor modifications to get it running all over again. And so that will bring it up to Bluetooth 4.0, low energy, and that's kind of, the standard. I know there's 5.0 now, and in a few years, who knows what's coming up, but 4.0 will bring it in line with the iPhone requirements and give you those options. So we're going to have to do this in two-pronged style. First of all, we have the hardware component. I really don't think there's all that much. We just got to wire these four connectors. I don't even think all four need to be connected to some pins over here. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm going to go look online for a schematic. Then we're going to look at the digital side of it, the coding. How do we send commands onto here and then pick that up with this? So we're going to probably use Python, I think, to create some very simple buttons and go through Bluetooth. I'm not quite sure what we're going to do just yet. And then, of course, we're going to use the same thing out here that we've been using all this time. So the code on this should look very familiar if you've seen the previous two videos. Where it's going to be interesting is how you issue commands to it. And so we're going to move on to my computer. When coming over to my computer, I did this really quickly, and there's no way you can see this given the tiny kind of thumbnail, but all I did was connect these two together. There are 4 wires here, and I think it's much, much more helpful just to look at one of these diagrams. I should warn you that it seems like the proper way to do this, to connect the HC06 to the Arduino is to divide the voltage with a 1K resistor and a 2K resistor. I think I saw some variations as well. I ignored that. It seems like a lot of people ignore it, and that will hurt the longevity of this chip, but I wanted to keep this super simple first, but other than that, it's pretty obvious. You have the transfer and receive into 2 different pins. It really doesn't matter. What have I chosen here? I chose pins 9 and 10. They have to be pins that support serial, so able to transfer serial data. I think 9 and 10 on the Pro Micro are serial capable, but I'm not sure. So that might change. Other than that, ground goes to ground, and power, or VCC, on the HC06 is connected to VCC on this Pro Micro. You might be a little confused because it connects to 5 volt on the Arduino Uno, but basically it just needs to be powered. So VCC is sorry about that. VCC is just fine. That'll supply the power necessary. Again, it's probably a good idea to divide your voltage. Make sure you don't, make sure you don't have the wrong voltage going through this chip. I don't know enough about it. All I know is it seems like it'll work, and uh, if not, I can always buy another one of these chips. This one's like $1.50, and then the Pro Micro is just like $4. So it's cheap. I don't mind if it dies. I just want to keep this easy for now. When we build it into something more substantial, then maybe I'll figure out the wiring. Anyways, in terms of next steps, what am I doing here? What I want to do is figure out how I can connect to this device here from my computer with Python. So I'm sure there must be a library for Bluetooth connections, and then hopefully I can connect, send some commands, and then on the Arduino, I'm going to program something that takes the kind of commands that my computer will send and appropriately do things. So you're going to see me fiddle around a bit. I don't know, what libraries I'm using, how I'm going to achieve this. We're just going to play it by ear. Okay, so we finally have something that looks like it works. I can't be sure. I did see blinking on my device, but until I actually start looking at the serial log, I'm not quite sure if it actually worked. But it seems like it's connected. My Windows, you can't see it, but it did say it connected with the HC06, and then clearly something was happening. Okay, so if you have watched the last, I think maybe 45 minutes or so, that was painful. Pi Blue Easy, I think that's how you Pi Blue Z, Pi Blue Easy, whatever it is, it looks like it's not being really well maintained. And so I had a lot of problems with Windows 10. I had no problem doing this discovery piece where I'm just searching for what devices are available. But when I started trying to actually connect with the device, it just wouldn't work. It was not a very descriptive error, so I couldn't really find out. And online, you have these people going, yeah, it works fine for me, or it doesn't, and then the thread goes stale. So it was really quite frustrating. I tried going back a version. I tried running this on Linux. I've never done this before, but I didn't quite get it working, but let me just pull this up. I found something really interesting is that on Windows, you can, install a Linux subsystem. This has been around for like a year, 2 years or so. So I can run Debian or another Linux distribution on this computer. And I was trying to figure that out. I've never done that. I've basically never used Linux, and I was hitting a wall with these errors, and I figured this is not a great solution anyways. We should try and figure this out. What's interesting is eventually I do want to put this onto a Raspberry Pi. Normally I would not go through such drastic measures to try and fix this, but ultimately my bigger project is to put this onto a Raspberry Pi. So I thought, well, I'm going to put it into Linux anyways. Like if that makes it easy, so be it. Obviously it wasn't easy. And then I tried a variety of like random fixes suggested on the internet, and that didn't really work out that well anyway. So I was about to kind of just shut my computer off and maybe sleep it off when I came across this one. And I feel like such an idiot. Like Bluetooth is built into Linux now. Or not Linux. Bluetooth is built right into Python 3.3 and above. Yeah, I feel like an idiot. Why did we go through that massive exercise when it's built in? And so now we're using sockets from Python to try and connect, and over here it just kept sending sending text. I don't actually think I'm sending text. I think I have the opportunity to send an input. But regardless, like I've connected, I can send things over through socket, and I actually kept Pi Blue Easy installed. I think it'll be really useful because in my end application, like I need to give people the opportunity to select the right Bluetooth device before connecting to it. I can't just assume that I have this MAC address at all times. So they'll be able to see, oh, this is the right device, click it, and then we'll initiate the connection and send messages back and forth. That's kind of the view of what I'm trying to do. And yeah, I thought I would just share an update because we went way out of like completely unrelated for quite a while. And if you're confused, so am I. But now it seems like we're back on track. we have it connected. I think the next step is to start looking at the Arduino piece, see if we're receiving anything, and then responding to that what do you call it, to that function. So I will get back into, I think I'm going to take a break, but I will get back into it probably tomorrow or the day after. So okay, we are definitely getting somewhere. So on the Python side, nothing really has changed. We're still sending bytes. I just changed it into the section signal symbol. And then if we look at the serial monitor, it is just... The problem here is that Python might be really smart and it can send a whole string, hello world, or something across, but really what's happening on the Arduino side, or even on the Python side, is it is sending one character at a time. So for hello world, it's sending H, and then E, and then L, and then L, and then O. We want to be able to parse that. And this individual from the Arduino forums, Mopeds, must be trying to do something very similar to us. He wants to send this A123, B456, C string over to the Arduino so that he can figure out, once it hits A, it becomes an X, like the numbers following it is an X coordinate. And then you hit B, and then it becomes a Y coordinate. So using certain symbols, and you can see I've already picked out a symbol for us, you can signal, this is the first message, this is the next message, this is the one following that. And so Mopeds has given me a really good theoretical foundation of how you might be able to pass that data very easily without resorting into a whole lot of encoding, decoding type of things. This is a really simple structure to take advantage of. And so we're going to be taking this and finishing up our project. But I am very pleasantly surprised at how quickly this HC06 worked. Oh, I should mention one other thing. At first, it didn't work, and the reason is because Windows 10 asked me if I wanted to connect. I'm sure that's like a security feature. So I just had to, on the other side, on my other screen, click OK, and that was basically it. So yeah, I'm very happy with how painless this has been. And the next part is to write the logic of what are we going to do with this really with this project. Hey everyone. Unfortunately, I think what we're going to have to do is split this into a part two video. I just don't seem to have enough time this week to finish it off. But I think what we did was quite cool. We took the Python part, which is coming from a Windows 10 computer, and it looks like this will work fine on Linux or Mac or any of the major OSs, to pass information from the computer onto here. And we are missing all sorts of logic here because ideally what I want to do is mirror a keyboard and a mouse from a computer onto the Arduino. I think that is a major undertaking because you're going to have to start thinking about left and right key presses, double clicks, the scroll wheel. You're going to have to figure out keyboards, not just A, B, C, D, but what if somebody does A and B at the same time, or all of those nuances. So, what's really important is really just this proof of concept is where I'm trying to go. And for now, I'm actually pretty happy. I know Python, like, I know we're just doing random integers and moving it over here, and there's all sorts of problems, but the bridge between the Windows computer to the Arduino is done. We're moving that information from one to the next. We got to think of an even more clever way to encode this information, not just X and then 4 digits, Y 4 digits. We're going to have to figure out there are states of the mouse clicking, the mouse wheel, and if there's a keyboard, there's going to be states of key down and up. So you're pressing down and then letting go of a key press. So there's a lot to do. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm ever going to complete this in a really satisfactory, polished way, but I really want to do something even a little stronger than what we've done here because for now, the X and Y coordinates are completely random. We got to figure out mouse, because the mouse library is limited in that it can only move relative to the last point rather than to exact coordinates. We got to figure out how to do that as well. There's all sorts of questions. The big one for me, and the one that makes this not a good proof of concept, is that for whatever reason, we're dropping values. In the Python code, we are filling these numbers so that it should be X and then a 4 digit number, and that includes leading zero. So if it is 10, it would be X0010. And if it's 1,256, that's fine. It's X1256. But what we're seeing in the serial monitor is that there are some that are 8 digits long, 3 digits, and other variations as well. What that what's what that is telling me is that we're dropping some of this information. We're getting X and then one of the 4 digits, and then so over here we're getting X, one of the 4 digits, and then Y shows up for some reason. So we missed 3 numbers. But the problem is, we can't really blame this on the Bluetooth connection. We have seen it work flawlessly when we print out hello, hello world, when we print strings out just flat out. It's this logic that we found from the Arduino forum, Mopedes. It makes a lot of sense. I've read it through and it makes sense to me, but for whatever reason, we are dropping numbers. So one of the if statements must be missing something here that we're not putting the last digit in. And that's basically it. We got to figure that out. And I think we're going to move this into a part two video because I think there's just so much more polish, and um, it's going to be a different set of tools from what we've done so far. So we're going to have to hone in the logic of how are we encoding that information on the Python side, and then how are we going to decode it on the Arduino microcontroller. And I think that is separate from making that connection from Bluetooth to this computer. So from Bluetooth computer to Arduino. So stay tuned. We're going to do a part 2 video to kind of wrap this up. I don't think we're going to get this perfectly polished, but we should certainly move further than random numbers and skipping characters here and there. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. If not, do leave me some feedback in the comments. I do read them all, and that leads to better videos for the next video on my channel. So thanks for watching.